So if you are following the world of ufology in recent months and years, then you must have noticed that there's a lot of infighting going on. Now, a lot of what I'm going to talk about in today's video I've already covered in some of my live streams, but I really wanted to take the time and put it into one compelling video because there's such a massive shift that we can observe in the field of ufology, for lack of a better word, in recent months and years, that it's really worth pointing out. And if you look at all these personalities, whether it's Jeremy Corbell, Ross Coulthart, Dr. Steven Greer, Lue Elizondo, all these people that are nowadays big names in the world of UFO research, you can notice that they all shoot at each other, symbolically speaking, not literally. But, you know, this guy takes a jab at this guy, then that guy takes a jab at that guy, then he fires back. It's a little bit like wrestling. I like to compare it to wrestling, right? It's a lot of drama going on within the world of ufology, UFO research, and these personalities. Now, I'm going to give you a whole bunch of examples, what's going on. But before I show this to you, I kind of want to give my stab at explaining why I think this is happening. I think the world of UFO research has changed dramatically in the sense that 10, 15 years ago, if you were in the world of UFO research, you could make good money with that, right? You appear in documentaries, you do little TV appearances here and there, then you write a book, you sell the book, and overall, it's a profitable business to be in, to sell people UFO stories. We all know everything has been promised, nothing has been delivered. We have no evidence till this day, and more people are realizing that. So if you imagine all the people who are believers, it is a fixed amount of people almost. Of course, a few more people coming in and there, but more people move away from it because more and more people are realizing we've been told these UFO stories over and over again. We've been promised whistleblowers. We've been promised life, world-changing Congress hearings. The hearings come and go, nothing changes. We never are presented with any evidence. And at the same time, you have an increasing amount of debunkers and people online who shed some light on the truth of this phenomenon, that most of it and the very, very, very vast majority of these cases and videos that are floating around can be explained. And with that, more and more people are waking up and realizing it is not a real phenomenon in the sense that aliens are floating around our planet. Look, I'm not excluding the option that that happened at some point, but more and more people are realizing that the stories we are being told by a lot of these personalities out there, these UFO researcher personalities, are just nonsense. It's just a bunch of promises that never go anywhere. So that means, imagine this huge pie, a round pie of people that are still believers. That pie is not really increasing anymore. Okay, more and more people, in fact, move away from it. Now, if you're one of these personalities, the ones that are listed earlier, whether it's Corbell, Coulthart, Steven Greer, Lue Elizondo, you need to secure as much as possible of that believer pie for yourself. You don't want to share this with others. When you do a live stream, when you do a podcast, you want people to believe what you say, not what those guys say. Because as it is with every other business, it is about growth. You want to grow, you want to make more money, and there's already a decline in this believer movement. So the only way to grow is to take away more believers from these other personalities and try to secure them and anchor them in your community so that you are the person they come to for the UFO news, and they send you the donations and they buy your book and they watch your documentaries and get the support. So, you know what I mean? You're cultivating this community, but in order to do that, you need to take a stab at everyone around you and hope that some of that stabbing, symbolically speaking again, obviously not literal stabs, convinces some of these people to join your movement instead, because you are the guy who has the only truth. So I think that's why we can observe this increase in infighting between these UFO personalities. And as I promised in the beginning, I'm going to give you a bunch of examples of that. Here we have Lue Elizondo calling Dr. Steven Greer a terrorist. Okay, it's like, really? Let's give it a listen.
I'm going to assume then that you're not going to take up Dr. Steven Greer on his offer to have a online live debate on third phase of Moon then.
Who's Greer?
There you go.
I'm kidding. Look, I don't negotiate with terrorists, bottom line.
All right, that's what he had to say. Okay, he's not negotiating with terrorists. So again, as I said, it's very reminiscent of like a wrestling match where you call out the opponent, then he calls out you, because guess what? Dr. Steven Greer indirectly, I guess, replied to this claim by Lue Elizondo. And here's what Dr. Steven Greer had to say about Lue Elizondo.
That, unfortunately, some of the others doing it are known counterintelligence operatives who are providing false information. So I, briefly had a quick chat with Don Jr. at a meeting, and he had been taken in by a known counterintelligence person named Lue Elizondo, who is someone working to intercept these whistleblowers and then turn.
You seem to be a big fan of his. It's what I hear.
No, Elizondo is a paid disinformation person. And
how convinced are you of that?
100%. I have an email from the top guy at the CIA who was there when Ronald Reagan wanted to know about this when he was running for governor, who was a very young postdoc, and he immediately wrote and said this is what he's doing. Now, recently...
Right. I'm going to link all these clips down in the description, okay, so you can go check them out at full length. I don't need to play the whole thing. But here is Dr. Steven Greer calling out Lue Elizondo as a paid disinformation person. And I'm just sitting here like, Jesus Christ. Because what's really fascinating about this whole thing is really that more and more the field of ufology and UFO research moves away from the actual cases, right? We're not talking about what did the whistleblower say, what evidence do we have, what does this clip show, where does it originate from, how does it link to the military and so on, right? We're not talking about the ufology and UFO cases and files and whatever we have itself anymore. We're now focusing on that guy said that, and he's a disinformation. And no, he's a disinformation agent. No, he's a terrorist, right? And we're going back and forth. We're keeping everyone busy and creating a bit of fake drama because that really sells. It's fascinating stuff to me. But that's not all. Lue Elizondo also recently threatened to sue Arthur Preston over a Twitter post. I'm going to share this with you guys as well. So this whole drama is just about this post by Arthur Preston. Again, I'll link it down in the description. He still hasn't taken it down. Arthur Preston is one of these people that I follow on Twitter as well because, you know, he does talk about UFOs as he does say it in his description. And he put together this thread on Twitter where he put all these things together about Lue Elizondo that are questionable, claims that he made, things that people said about him that put his credibility into question. And it is like a fairly lengthy thread making claims like that the director of the UAP Disclosure Fund pays Lue Elizondo to lobby in Congress, posting pictures of Lue Elizondo with James Clapper, calling him, claims James Clapper, a traitor, showing pictures of how he surrounds himself with people who publicly oppose Donald Trump, putting the famous clip in there where he's showing the very famous now, I talked about it in my video as well, the chandelier photo where he claims it is a mothership, a real photo of a mothership. I'm sure you're familiar with that clip. Showing alleged leaked Facebook messages from Lue Elizondo, describing him as a Trump-hating neocon. I can't read this word for you guys. So you get the idea, right? It is a threat that tries to discredit the credibility of Lue Elizondo. But here's the point. This whole thread till this day, it just got no traction, okay? Like, the main post got 290 likes, 295 likes at this point. Then the first reply that shows some of this information regarding Joe Rogan, and it was like 94 likes. Then the next one's already 7 likes, 26 likes, 21 likes, 7 likes, 45. You see what I mean? It never got any traction. It really is a threat that nobody really would have cared about if Lue Elizondo wouldn't have stepped forward and promised or claimed that he will sue Arthur Preston over that particular threat. Now check this out. Lue Elizondo's lawyer sends Arthur Preston a demand for retraction letter. I write as legal counsel to Lue Elizondo. This is a quote from the letter, obviously. The purpose of this letter is to demand that you retract the false and defamatory comments you made recently on X. As well, Mr. Elizondo demands that you refrain from further defamatory comments. Failure to abide by these requests may result in a civil lawsuit against you for defamation. The goal of your threat is to disqualify Mr. Elizondo from government service by suggesting that he is opposed to President Trump and a friend of the Democrat Party. Your goal of discrediting Mr. Elizondo such that he might not be appointed by President Trump. So he's not even saying, yeah, you're spreading all these lies about me. He's saying, dude, you're putting all these examples together that I'm not the biggest fan of Donald Trump, but I really want to work in Donald Trump's UFO task force. I really want to be part of that. But with all these examples, I probably won't. And that's not everything. On Twitter, Todd McMurtry spoke to Arthur Preston directly and basically almost, if I read this correctly, threatened him and say, is this really worth losing your house and everything over this one threat? He says you can't afford a defense and so on. Again, I'll link all these tweets down in the description so you can check this out yourself, but it goes pretty deep. And in the shadow of all this happening, Arthur Preston still hasn't deleted this particular post. It is still up at the point of the recording of this video. And to be honest with you, I think Lue Elizondo threatening to sue this man over this Twitter post that has like 290 likes, right? Like almost just under 300 likes, shows me what a level of insecurity we're dealing with here, right? Because if you would be secure in all the beliefs and all the points you're making and the credibility and correctness of the statements that you're putting out there, why would you even bother threatening someone like that, like suing him and making it a bigger deal than it was before when just the post existed? It feels like a massive expression of insecurity, but we're not stopping there. Greer recently also commented on Ross Coulthart's famous egg UFO video. I'm sure you've seen it. Little green egg video, Ross Coulthart and Jake Barber's famous, at this point, legendary UFO egg retrieval video. I covered it in a separate video as well. I'll link that down in the description as well. There's going to be a lot of links in the description. But here's Dr. Steven Greer commenting on the video and on the credibility of Ross Coulthart's and Jake Barber's egg video.
That particular footage of this egg-shaped object, which they are saying is non-human extraterrestrial. We know that there are definitely small extraterrestrial life forms that are on the order of a couple to 3.5 feet tall that travel in these very pearlescent, it's not just white paint. When you said pearlescent craft, it's a very unusual material. And they're not very big, 20, 25 feet across. But if you're only 3 feet tall or something, that's a nice, it'd be like me being a 40-foot diameter disc, because I'm 6'4". So I think that...
Sorry, I love how he's sneaking in there that he's 6'4". Because, like, I'm, for my part, just putting it out there, it's kind of unrelated, but I'm 6'4". Okay, guys, just, you might want to take a note of that. 6'4". Okay, like, I just want to, let's go on with the story.
We know that is a type of NHI craft or ET craft. Now, where it gets a little confusing is that in the show, they said this is like the one captured by the Navy pilots that was white. But see, this is the lack of research and knowledge by the producers. That craft was from the Lockheed Skunk Works and man-made. So remember, you're going to have craft that are non-human, and then there are the copycats, the facsimiles. And those have been created on purpose because they can engage in deceptive operations or false flag operations with those man-made craft that look indistinguishable at this point from a non-human NHI ET craft.
Damn, shots fired, bro. Okay, so here he is. Here's Greer calling out Coulthart and the credibility of his egg-shaped UFO video. It is man-made, guys. It never was extraterrestrial. And obviously, Ross Coulthart cannot let that stand. Dude, I feel like I'm in a freaking soap opera at this point, bro. All these personalities. We're not talking about the UFO cases anymore. We're just saying, he said that, well, screw him. He's bad. No, you're bad. Okay, here's Ross Coulthart commenting back on Dr. Steven Greer, calling him out. Okay, listen to this.
And look, you can't dismiss it. There's long been theories and claims made by people that there is going to be a fake alien invasion as some kind of control mechanism by dark forces of the state. And that's a line pushed very much by a guy called Greer, Mr. Greer, Steven Greer. Frankly, I'm skeptical. I don't see any evidence of such a conspiracy, and I noticed Mr. Greer recently has tried to include me in his conspiracy theories, suggesting that I'm colluding with Jake Barber in some kind of dark CIA false flag operation. I'm not buying into his theories. The simple fact is that there is a lot of speculation over the years about Project Bluebeam. It's floated around on conspiracy networks. And
anyway, we don't need to watch the whole thing. Again, I'll put it in the description. You can check out the whole interview on News Nation if you want to. So I think you can see a trend here, right? You can see a trend of all these big personalities, because the people we're looking at now, right, like whether it's Elizondo, Dr. Steven Greer, going to look at a clip now of Jeremy Corbell as well, Ross Coulthart. These are the people who are currently really at the top of the UFO research bubble online, right? These are the people who are invited to shows, they are consulted, they are dictating the direction of this conversation around UFO and ufology in the public eye. So to see all of these people infighting and pointing fingers at each other, it's a phenomenon that we didn't really have in the past. Sure, we may have had examples where like one personality claimed something about another UFO personality, but to this extent and with that intensity, right, and clarity of literally calling them out with their name, promising to suing other people and stuff, it goes pretty far. We have never seen anything like this before. And I'm curious, if you're watching this, Why do you think this is happening? What's going on here? Why are these people doing this? Why do they think it's necessary to behave in that way and almost distract from the subject UFOs and these stories itself, right? And move it over to some kind of soap opera drama. Well, I've got one more clip for you guys, as I promised. It's like a Jeremy Corbell clip. And he talks about Michael Shellenberger. You may remember I covered it in a previous video. Jeremy Corbell was very angry that Michael Shellenberger was named as the source of the Immaculate Constellation documents when they were presented in front of Congress. He was very, very angry and adamant about his name not being mentioned left and right because he's the guy who printed out the documents and he should be the center of attention. Everyone should look at him. Again, I did a video about that separately. I'll link it in the description as well. But here he is commenting on his thoughts on Michael Shellenberger. And I mean, in the other video I presented it, he called Shellenberger. He was like, mate, we're still friends, right? We're still gonna have a beer later on, right? Yeah. And he's pretending that everything is hunky-dory and rosy between the two. Well, that doesn't sound as hunky-dory. Here he is on stage with George Knapp at where did this happen? I don't really know. I guess at some kind of event or whatever. It's a Q&A session. They're asking him questions. Let's take a listen.
Perspective on Michael Shellenberger and his potential role in this. And how did he get called as a witness? Who is this guy? And because I've not heard of him before the hearing, but you sure have. You know him better than I do. So I'd like to just hear your thoughts on why was he given credit for the report and why, and because there's some tie there.
Yeah.
There's.
It's a fucked up situation, Mark. That's Mark from the Ojai Valley magazine. Good question, Mark. Should I answer this?
Oh God, like he starts speaking, dude, my cringe-o-meter goes all the way through the roof instantly. You know, that's Mark from this magazine. It's like, just give the freaking answer, bro. We asked you a question. Give the answer. Stop, put on this act, man. What are you doing, dude?
Yes. Yeah?
Yes.
I don't fucking know. I'm having PTSD watching that. Why do you lie about, like if somebody says...
I love that he has PTSD watching this. Guys, remember, everything will change. When was it? Like the 16th of November, the 13th of November last year? He announced it, right? Guys, the world will not be the same after the 13th of November. After that hearing, guys, Immaculate Constellation, everything will change. Now he's like, I get PTSD just watching this stuff. It's like that happened quickly. That escalated in no time, so...
Oh yeah, I just like put a little mascara on. Like, why are you fucking lying? Like, I don't know. You're supposed to be like somebody who's credible, somebody that fights for human rights, for, you know, righteousness against government. Maybe Dan would be better to answer this. I don't fucking know.
Damn,
all I know
swearing
is that
so much all the time, you know.
If you lie about something, like a little thing in our business, like me and George, if you knowingly lie, you're bought. So the question is, why do you do that? What are you doing? Can people trust you? I can never walk somebody into a congressional office again and say, hey, buddy, you're safe. These are trusted people. Come walk in with me. Everything's okay. I can't do it anymore. I don't know, man. You're going to have to ask him. I think he needs to explain to you why he lied. I met with him the night before.
And showed him the document.
I don't know if we're going to put this in our weaponized book, but I did. That's the truth. So, Danny, maybe you could answer this, but
just to clarify, he had never seen the document until the night before, the document that Congress gave him credit for submitting.
Did you guys understand that in the series, like 2 months before that I took this huge risk, and I put somebody else at risk, and I said, you can trust these congressional members, and I went into Burchett's office. We gave him a 22-page version of the Immaculate Constellation document. I brought the human being in with us, Ryan. He was embedded in our camera crew, pretending he was our camera crew or just with us. And then I said, hey, Rep Burchett, do you trust me? He's like, yeah.
Wait. What? Wait. Did he just say, let me listen to this again.
The human being in with us, Ryan. He was embedded.
We brought the human being in with us, Ryan?
In our camera crew, pretending he was our camera crew.
He was embedded in our camera crew, pretending to be part of the camera crew. Is he talking about the actual leaker? Is he talking about the whistleblower? Is Ryan the name of the whistleblower? I'm not sure I understand this correctly, leave your thoughts on this down in the comment section below. But this sounds like he's like, we actually brought the whistleblower into this place with us when we spoke to these relevant people. We pretended that he's part of our camera crew, right? Kind of disguising him. Who else is he talking about when he says the human being? I'm really not sure I understand, but that's a bit odd.
Just with us, and then I said, hey, Rep Burchett, do you trust me? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm bringing somebody in, all cameras are leaving, just you and me and a guy. And he's like, cool. He trusted me. Then I did it again with Rep Luna. Then I did it again with Nancy Mace. I was trying to see if this whistleblower is going to tell them the same thing they told me. How do I trust this person? Well, if they're telling a congressperson and they're saying they're going to testify and they show them their real name and all the info, all their background, and this is the way I vet people. I know it's crazy to vet people this way, but I vetted them this way. So big picture, right, Mark? You're asking, so I'm going to answer you. Big picture. I was trying to bring first-hand whistleblowers public. George was supposed to testify. He told them what he would offer. I was supposed to testify. As soon as I gave them what I would give them, like the actual, they were trying to get me into a room, man, to see if I had videos and that kind of thing, if George and I had collected stuff. It was a setup, man. It was so weird. So, I don't know. Schellenberger has to answer for himself. Why didn't he correct the record? I'm sitting right there. As soon as Nancy Mace says that, I go, hey, Michael. I yell at him. I go, hey, Michael. She just lied. Are you going to correct the record? I thought they were going to kick me out of Congress. Did you hear me say it, Danny?
Yeah, I did.
I was there. Yeah, I was like, hey, Michael. And he like turned and like a zombie looked back forward. He was part of it.
Because he's like, bro, it doesn't matter if it's your name or my name. It is about the contents of this document. It is about this alleged secret government program in which they're exploring these UFO cases and so on, right? That's what it's about. It's not about whether it says Corbell on top or Schellenberger on top. That's why he looks back. He's like, dude, what are you talking about right now? Can we please focus on the matter at hand? It is so freaking cringe. Jesus Christ.
Man. Now, what is part of it? I don't know. They're positioning people. They're ordaining people to be the people that speak for this issue. That is, I think, the real story.
I think you're right.
No,
that's the obvious answer here.
It's the obvious answer. I think it's true. I think that there's people in position that they want to shape the emerging UAP narrative, and I think people can be bought, and I think they've testified 17 fucking times to Congress because they're bought. But I don't know. You should ask the human being and not me. I can talk about me. What I know is I fought fucking hard to protect whistleblowers, and I know I'll never trust that system.
Right. There's Jeremy Corbell giving his open opinion about Schellenberger, who previously allegedly was his best friend, and they were one team, one dream, guys. We're making it happen. Now it sounds much less like that. And by the way, when Anna Paulina Luna, the congresswoman who was also attending that Congress meeting afterwards, was asked what her thoughts were on that UAP hearing about the Immaculate Constellation, she said they didn't answer some of the questions we were asking. So I thought it was annoying. The witnesses submitted a lot of stuff to us, and when you asked them about it, they weren't answering them. So why waste everyone's time? And I think afterwards she mentioned something like, instead of giving us answers to these questions that we had about these documents, they were all just promoting their book, right? I'm paraphrasing here, but she made a statement like that as well. So it's pretty clear that the people who were actually in charge of the Congress didn't care whether it's Schellenberger's name on top or Corbell's name. They cared about the contents. They wanted answers to these questions, and they didn't care whether it's like that or that name. So again, guys, this is just a summary of the situation. There's a lot of drama going on in the world of ufology, in the world of UFO research. Everyone's shooting at everyone. Obviously, not literally. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Why do you think this is happening? Do you agree with my assessment of the situation? Maybe you have a completely different take on it. Feel free to leave any of your thoughts down in the comment section below. I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for watching. Please don't forget to smash the like button on the video. Subscribe to the channel for more. You can also join our Discord. The link to that is in the description with all these other links that I'm promising to put in there probably. I hope to see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves. I'm out. Bye.